final speaker now. It's a pleasure to introduce Ali Dulfikar, who is from the University of Queensland. And Ali is going to speak to us about understanding the impact of exercise interventions on patient acceptance and perception during glioma treatment. So lovely to see you, Ali. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Harry. I hope everyone's had a lovely afternoon. So I'm going to present some information that was derived from the qualitative aspect of my mixed methods approach study, and this is based on my PhD. So I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent, but I will come back and present the qualitative data right at the end. But I guess I wanted to I've got a couple of tasks for everyone that you can join in mentally. There's no doodle poll or anything like that. But essentially this year I was given the opportunity to deliver a series of cancer lectures to a range of fourth-year exercise physiology students. What I got them to do after introducing brain cancer and glioma to them was to complete a doodle poll, and I guess this is the first task for everyone online as well. I got them to, in one word, describe what they believe. In one word, describe brain cancer. And so this, we'll go to the next slide. This is, so I collected all that data on a doodle poll, made a word cloud, and this is sort of what was the overarching one-word theme to describe brain cancer. Now, for a lot of us here, this probably isn't a surprise. It's an invasive, unforgiving, incurable cancer. So following this, I posed the question to the class, well, if we have this incurable, invasive, and unforgiving cancer, how do you think exercise, or what impact do you think exercise will have on this population? So I introduced them to my study that I completed in my PhD. So we recruited a range of low and high grade glioma patients who were either undertaking radiation with or without chemotherapy. And we put them through an exercise program that was about 3 days a week for about 6 weeks. So during that period where they were going through that radiation and chemotherapy treatment. They then engaged in sort of a less intense program. So it was a once a week for an additional 6 weeks. And then we completed the study at the end of about 12 weeks. And that's where we conducted the semi-structured interviews. So all up, we had 16 patients in our study, and we interviewed 14 of them. So, and I guess the second task for everyone, before I go to the next slide, I asked my students if you had to describe how exercise could benefit brain cancer patients in one word, because, I like a challenge. What would that word be? So I'll give you 3 or 4 seconds to think about that, and I'll go to the next slide and I'll show you what we got. Everyone got their responses? All right. So, I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised asking, fourth-year exercise physiology students, what benefits do you think exercise could present to this population? So strengthening was by far and by large the most common benefit they perceived. Exercise, according to our students, had the ability to create adaptiveness, happiness, quality of life. And I guess if you asked me the same question a couple of years ago before I started the study, I also probably would have said the exact same thing, quality of life, aerobic endurance. But what I actually found in my study was slightly different. And it's something that I probably would not have provided an answer with. So one of the key themes we found in my research was that exercise provided a respite from cancer. So participating in the 3 times a week exercise program served as a distraction, so to speak. So patients were able to have their mind removed from the diagnosis, the treatment, and all the ups and downs of the cancer journey. And those are just a couple of quotes from some patients. Exercise promoted positivity. And so, when I came across this theme, it made sense. I thought about positivity in terms of, physical well-being, but something I guess I tended not to do as an exercise physiologist is consider the psychological aspects. So, and this is something that the patients really emphasized, was the positivity both in the physical sense, but also in the psychological sense. And then finally, exercise promoted the ability to cope. So participating in the exercise intervention functioned as a coping mechanism, and it gave patients a sense of hope for their future. And one of the things that a lot of the patients were saying was, you wouldn't invest this much time or this much energy into me if, you know, my diagnosis was all doom and gloom and there wasn't a light at the end of the tunnel for me. So I guess the one thing, if there was one thing you took away from today, is, you know, when we think about exercise, we tend to think about it from a physical wellness perspective, you know, improving adaptability, strengthening. But sometimes it could be those other aspects that we've not considered that exercise could really lend and improve. Thank you, everyone.